Hi everyone, Amber here from Majestic. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're already on month 2 of Cotton Cut's Fall 2025 Puzzle Mystery Quilt. This theme is Under the Sea, and I am the ambassador for Davy Jones Locker. If you've been following along, I am obsessed with this colorway. It was my #1 pick. It was actually chosen as a mystery, so I am so thankful that I am sewing up with it. I think all of you can agree that if you are sewing a quilt or any project where you really love the fabrics, it makes it even more enjoyable. And that's definitely the case for me right now. So for month 2, for the large size, we are sewing up 4 of this same block. So this is month 2, and you will have 4 of them. I'm absolutely loving how they're turning out. I hope you enjoy my tutorial. I do gear it for beginners, or if you already know how to quilt, you can kind of follow along with me. I don't do time lapses. Definitely let me know in the comments if you are enjoying it and what colorway you are sewing up. And if you are just finding my channel, there is still time to sign up for this puzzle mystery quilt. You have a week or 2 left, and you can use my ambassador code. It's AmberCSEA, and that just lets them know that you found my channel and you're following along with my content. I'll also put a link in the description to the Cotton Cuts website where you can sign up to join in the fun, as well as a link to their Facebook group. Even if you're not doing the puzzle mystery quilt, I definitely recommend joining it. It's full of great people, and there's so many fun projects and content going on there all the time. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you do. If you haven't already liked or subscribed, it does help my channel grow. I appreciate it so much, and enjoy month 2. All right, so I have everything for clue 2 laid out. I have my clue printed. And so here and a little bit off screen, I have all my pieces laid out. That helps me keep everything in order. I have my color card, which is on the back of your little pamphlet, so I know which fabrics I'm going to be grabbing. I also have my mini iron and my pressing mat real close. I'm sewing on an older Singer. It's a Singer 5528. I'm just using regular Gutermann thread and an 8012 needle. So I might bump it down to a 7010 if it starts like eating my fabric, but I'm gonna leave it in for right now because that's what I've been sewing with other projects. And so here we have 4 sections. They're all the same this month. We don't have an A and a B, so you're gonna have 4 blocks by the time we're done. So when we start here, I am going to be dividing all these numbers by 4 because I'm only going to make 1 on camera. So if you want to make all 4 blocks at the same time, make sure you're being mindful of how many to make in total. So I need 1 A half square triangle and 1 F half square triangle. These fabrics, thankfully this month I don't have a lot that look the same. These are probably the closest. The A is the haunted house fabric, and the F is the crow fabric. So I always lay them out, and then I'm putting them right sides together. I was sewing a block the other day, and I was just so thankful for Cotton Cuts that offers it die cut, because they just match up so perfectly. Compared to the one that I had to cut myself. And I always kind of hand crank the needle down, especially if I'm starting on something that has a point. Like, see, even here, I think it wants to be eaten. Let me check. And there we go. I kind of just held on to the threads tight, and it helped pull it through. And you can see it's like a little crinkly here, but it's not enough that it's going to mess up my triangle. So I am not going to rethread it pick it out. And so down here, it is, our arrows are pointing down. So we are pressing towards our S fabric. That's the one with the crows. If you are doing the Davy Jones Locker, if you're not and you're just doing a large, you want to make sure you're pressing to the correct fabric. Okay, I'm just going to set that to the side. So for step 2, we're doing the same thing. We need a B half square triangle. Our B is this floral, and a D fabric, which is our orange. And same thing, putting them right sides together, making sure that we are matching up that long straight edge. You can clip them if you need to. When I first started quilting, I did, or pin them, whatever works best for you. Now I only really pin or clip if it is a long section that I can't really hold together. And that's mostly just because it will, it saves me time. And I'm just making sure I cut down my threads really well. And this is going to be pressed to the bottom right towards our D fabric. So that is our orange. And I always press them on the back first and then fold them open. I find that it just makes it almost crease a little bit better. You don't have to do that. It is an extra step. I just find it very helpful. So now for step 3, we need both pieces that we just did. So we need to attach our step 1 to the top of our step 2. So I want to make sure I have my A fabric in the top left and my D fabric in the bottom right. And I'm going to put them right sides together. If you want to clip or pin them, I definitely recommend it. I have accidentally sewed the wrong side so many times because you have to turn it. And especially when they are just a square like that, it's so easy to sew the wrong side. And for step 3, our arrow is pointing down. So I am pressing the bottom seam and then gently folding this open. You want to make sure that you're not tugging on this. You don't want to warp your fabrics. So I'm gently just pulling it open enough that I know the seam is going to set, but not enough so that it stretches the fabric. Okay, and I'm going to set that to the side. That is step 3. And now we are on step 4. We need a B fabric and a C half squares triangle. So our B fabric again is that floral, and our C fabric is this pink fabric. I love this one. I love all the prints in this colorway. I was so happy when I found out it was chosen for me. Okay, again, putting these right sides together. And if you're doing all 4 blocks at once, you're going to want to make 4 of these. I'm just doing the 1 for the tutorial. And for this one, we are pressing our seam towards the bottom right, which is our C fabric, that pink fabric. I love having the little mini iron and mat right next to my machine. It just makes everything so quick. Okay, and now for step 5, we need our step 4, and we are attaching a B square to the bottom. So I just have my B square, again, putting them right sides together, lining up the edge. Because it's die cut, it should still match up perfectly.
Yep.
And for this one, we are pressing our seam up towards the half square triangle section. Okay, so that is step 5. I think I called it step 4, but we need our step 4 on the top of step 5. Okay, so now we are on to the second page, and this is step 6. We are going to combine these. So we need our step 5, which is here, to the right of our step 3. So you shouldn't, if you kept them facing the correct direction, they should already be in the order that you want. So A in the top left, B square in the bottom right. And because this has a seam here in the center, I am going to clip them. So what I do is I'm going to put them right sides together and then turn it towards me. Your seams, if you press them in the directions, in the correct direction, they should be nesting. So the top is facing to the right, the bottom to the left. So I just clip that first, and then I match up my sides. And you should be making 4 of these. Again, I just have the one for our tutorial. And I'm hoping that this doesn't shift and that my seam lines up nicely. Okay, and our arrows are pressing towards the right hand side. So that's the side with your B square. So I'm just giving the back a press and then gently opening this up. You have a lot of fabrics coming together, so it kind of wants to fold back on itself. So I just press the center first and then work my way out. And the centers matched up perfectly. I'm so happy that did not really wiggle on me. So this is step 6, and I'm just going to set it to the side. We don't need it for the next step. So step 7 here. Again, we're making 4. I'm making 1. You need a C square and a D square. And this is nice and easy. You don't have to worry about accidentally sewing the wrong side because they're both squares. And as I'm sewing, I'm trying to clean off the little threads if they're fraying, just to make it easier at the very end when I try to clean up the quilt top. And for this one, our seams are being pressed down. That is towards our D square, which is the orange fabric. Again, pressing the back and then gently folding this open. Yeah, and I'm not going to move this to the side because we're going to use that for our step 8. So now we need one of our A rectangles, which are one of these long white pieces, and it's going to go to the right. And you'll notice that mine is a little bit longer, and that's because instead of doing a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance, I used a full 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of center this, and if there's any extra, I'll just hide that in the seam allowance. So if yours does not match up perfectly, it's probably because of the seam allowance. And as long as you're consistent with your seam allowance, your quilt will come together fine. So I just do the full 1/4 inch. I'm really terrible at scant 1/4 inches. I can never keep them the same distance. Okay, and for this one here, our seams are going to be pressed to the left. That's the side that has the 2 smaller squares. Again, I'm just giving the back a nice press and gently opening this up. And even though there's a seam on the left, I don't have to worry about it because there's no seam on this rectangle for me to match up. Okay, and I'm going to leave this here because now for step 9, we need to take our step 8 and I'm moving it to the bottom and then taking our step 6 and attaching it to the top. So your rectangle you want on the bottom right, and then it should be lined up with your B square. That's how you can tell that you have them together. And again, there is this seam here. So what I like to do is fold them right sides together and then turn it so it's facing me again, so I can really match up these seams. They are nested. The top is facing towards the left, the bottom is facing towards the right. So again, I line that up first and then match up my edges. And if you have your A rectangle just poking out a little bit on the top here, you just want to go by that small, the B block. And that just hides that extra length right in the seam allowance. Okay. And for this one, you can see that I kind of folded back on itself. I'm not going to unpick it. I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to give this another press. It didn't fully fold back on itself, so it's laying flat. So if you wanted to pick this apart, you could, but as long as I can press it fairly flat, I don't worry about it. And we are pressing our seams towards the rectangle. So I just press the seam and then gently folding this open. Again, as it gets bigger, the seam allowances kind of want to fold back on themselves. So just be very mindful of that. And sometimes I just give extra presses as I go along. Okay, so this is step 9. Again, I'm very happy with how my seams are lining up. This has taken me a long time to get them to come out well. So now we're building the other half of the block. It's similar, except we don't really have any more half square triangles. So for step 10, I need a D square for the left, which is my orange, and a C square for the right, which is the pink. I'm just putting them right sides together. Because they're both squares, we can just line them up. And because this is a puzzle mystery quilt, some of these fabrics are directional, but I just make sure to kind of keep them random. Because at the end, when we get our clue, you don't know which direction or which way all these blocks are going. So it's better to have a mixture, so that way they're all kind of random at the end. Okay, and we want to press our seams to the right, which is towards the C square. And again, you're making 4 of these if you're doing all 4 blocks at once. And now we have step 11, which is adding our A rectangle. And as you can see, it's just a couple millimeters longer on the left and the right. And just like last time, I'll hide that in the seam allowance when this block gets sewn to another. So I'm just lining up the straight edge. There's no center seams to match up because of the rectangle. My tail kind of got caught, so I'm just cutting it out right there. I had left a long piece and it wrapped around the foot, so. And for this, we are pressing down towards that rectangle. So again, just gently folding it open. So you can see here, it just overhangs a little bit. If you wanted to trim it up, you could. I am just going to hide it in the seam allowance. Put that to the side.
Please.
So now step 12 and 13, we're sewing 2 different squares to each other. I'm going to do them at the same time just to make it a little bit quicker. So for step 12, I need another C and D. So C is the pink and D is the orange. And then for step 13, I need another D square and a B square. So I'm actually just going to sew both of these at the same time. It just saves me time, it saves me thread. And the steps are, because they're just squares, it's simple enough that I think if you are a beginner that just found me and following along, you'll be able to keep up. And these all have 4 of them. I love these big blocks. They started transitioning the large to these larger blocks during Wild West. And it's really made it easier at the end to put all the pieces together. So I'm really appreciating that. Okay, so step 12 that has our CD fabric, we are pressing towards the orange block. That's the one that has the orange and the pink square. So again, just pressing those seams towards the right, making sure I get it from the back and then from the front. And then step 13, we are also pressing towards our D square, but this time it's on the left. Again, pressing from the back and then from the front. And so you can see now for step 14, we're just combining these 2 together. We're not rotating them. We're not doing anything different. So that's why I did step 12 and step 13 at the same exact time. And there is a seam. So I am going to put these right sides together, making sure that I can see the seam. And I always kind of fold it back on itself just to make sure that they're really lined up. They're nested because I followed the pressing instructions. and then just making sure that I am clipping out to along the sides. Okay, and for this one, we are pressing towards the top. I'm just pulling this a little close to me. I only held one of the tails, and so the other one is stuck. So I'm just trimming it out right now I'm not sure if it's in view of the camera or not. All right, so for this, we are pressing towards the top, towards our step 12, which had the C fabric, and which is the pink for Davy Jones Locker. Man, I don't really want to jinx it, but I'm really, really happy with how my seams are matching up on this block. Hope it keeps coming out this well. Okay, so now for step 15, we are taking our step 11, which had our A rectangle, and adding it to the top of our step 14. So you want to make sure your piece with your rectangles on the top and your B square is in the bottom right. And what's nice is there's no seam on this rectangle. So I am just going to put them right sides together and center them on the rectangle. Because again, this one here, we have a seam, so it might be a little bit shorter than the rectangle. Mine is by a couple millimeters, not enough to throw it off. This time I'm remembering, it's such a bad habit where I don't fold my tails. If you are a beginning sewist, I'd highly recommend getting in the habit of folding them. That way they don't get sucked up or get caught up, because then you have to unjam your machine and it's a pain. Okay, so now for this, we are pressing towards the top, towards that A rectangle. So gently opening it. All right, I'm so happy with how this is looking. All right, and our last step, we're adding our step 15 to the right of step 9, and mine are already lined up. So on the left hand side you have your A rectangle vertical, on the right you have it horizontal. There's 2 seams to match up. There is the center seam here, and then this seam where the rectangle and square are coming together. So I'm going to put them right sides together. And I always start with my center seam. So they are nested. I'm folding it back on itself, making sure it is aligned. And then I match up any other seams that are matching. So this one here on the right. And then now I'm just clipping along the edges. There's a seam here up top, or on this top fabric, but on the bottom, it's our rectangle. So there's not one to match up over here. So hopefully this stays in place. I'm trying to also remember to backstitch at the end of quilting. When you're piecing, they're going to get sewn over each other, but it just helps keep it a bit more secure. I do it all the time in bag making. So it's not really different. It's just with quilting, I try to be quick, and it's a lot of smaller pieces. And sometimes if the pieces end on that point, it's hard to backstitch because it wants to get pushed down into my feed dogs. All right, so here, our last step, we are pressing our seams to the right. So I'm just pressing from the back. I have a lot of fabrics coming together. So sometimes that seam wants to fold back on itself. So I'm just kind of pressing this open, making sure they're not folded back on itself, and then giving it a good press from the front. And I think the seam, you can see the seam here, and then the seams right here matched up fairly well. So I'm quite happy with it. So this is our block. It finishes up month 2, and you will have 4 of these by the time that you're done. All right, so we have just finished up our block for month 2. You will have 4 of these by the time you're done if you are sewing up the large size. Thank you again to Cotton Cuts for allowing me to be an ambassador. I love participating in the Puzzle Mystery Quilts. It's so refreshing to have all the pieces cut for you. You don't have to do any of that prep work, and everything comes together so nicely. If you haven't already, I love if you like or subscribe. It does help my channel grow. I appreciate it so much. And if you haven't signed up yet for the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, I do have a link in the description so you can join in the fun. I'll see you next month. Bye.